Hello and welcome to today's graphic design tip of the day. For today's tip, we're going into Adobe Photoshop first to make a couple adjustments and then into Adobe Illustrator to learn how to create from an actual photo a cartoon style drawing. So the first thing I do recommend, especially when you're beginning and are not quite sure where to break down a character or shape, whatever you're drawing, into more simple forms, is to go into Photoshop or Photopea is a free program where you can do this exact same step, and go to Image, down to Adjustments, and over to Posterize. Now when you have this option, you can pull it over to the amount of levels that you would like to actually draw and create in the other program. So about 7 is going to be good for this face here to break it up into some simpler pieces so I know where the highlights and shadows are going to go later. So I'll save this and then open it into my second program, Adobe Illustrator. Okay, here I have the image that I just made in Photoshop. I saved it as a JPEG image and just brought it right into Illustrator. You can also save it as an Illustrator file and open it with Photoshop as well. But if you are going to be using the free programs, it's definitely easier if it's not a vector image that you're just bringing over. Save it as a JPEG so that you can open it in any program or at least a PDF file. In this program, I did lock this layer, so on my layers palette you can see I locked it. That way as I'm drawing on top of it, I'm not going to end up moving this around at all. And then I used my new layer button right here to make a new blank layer on top that I will actually start my drawing. The first thing you want to do is the background. Always work your way from the biggest forms and work your way forward into the design. So on this new layer, I'm going to start with my background. I'll just make it a solid color to show as an example. Using my rectangle tool, I can draw out just the background piece here and change it to the color that I want. Okay, once I have that color in, I'm going to lock this layer now too and use my visibility option, the little eyeball that's next to it, to hide it and make a new layer on top of it. So I'm going to be doing this process over and over. Think about those biggest shapes that are furthest back and working my way to the front of the design. So using my pen tool here, I'm going to start with the face. And I will be drawing this hair too, so I'm purposefully not going right next to that hairline because I know the hair is going to cover the top of it just a little bit. And as you use the pen tool, you're just pulling and dragging whenever you have a curve, and if you need to drop a straight line, then just click and let go. Now in Illustrator, it's going to start to fill it automatically. I can either turn that fill off or switch it to a stroke by using the little arrow that's right above it, so I can actually see what I'm doing to draw. And once I have that basic shape created, using my eyedropper tool in either program, I can grab an actual color from the image, so whatever the most background color is going to be. So one of my shadow values first, I'll start with that one on the outside as my base color. Now I'm going to, just like I did before, go back to my layers here, lock this layer, make a new layer above it, and hide the layer that I just made. So I can go back and start doing those details on top, and it's going to be this process over and over. So going through the hair, I will add more detail to it later, but just to get the basic structure of it. So using the method that I just showed you here, I was able to create a vector portrait in about 55 minutes. Of course, you can go into there with even more detail and fine lines, but in 50 minutes using this method, it goes way faster to break it down into the simple shapes. I hope you enjoyed today's graphic design tip of the day.